welcome. This all-new edition of Illiana Stock Car Radio, episode number 61, coming your way tonight. Jeremy Banning, Chris Goodacre with you as always, and Chris Goodacre with a few less parts this week.
Well, one anyway.
At least one less part this
I
week.
voted off the island, and now that I'm back at least about 80%, I'm able to be here and comment sarcastically about things.
Yeah, I mean you're as close to 100% as I think you're ever going to be, or at least as you were before.
Yeah,
right.
Well, it's not like I'm gonna get that part back.
That's probably no good anymore. And I probably just tossed it, and you're good. So man, a lot to cover this week. Episode.
Busy week.
Past week had the Bettenhausen Memorial 100 and the Bettenhausen race weekend to Grundy County Speedway. Coming up also this weekend, looking forward, is championship night and the season finale at Grundy County Speedway. We're just talking off air that it seems like we just got the season going. So
and it's weird doing this like this late into the season. Normally that's a Labor Day weekend thing.
Yeah, exactly. And but here we are, end of September, and hoping the weather holds out and get us one final night of racing in. That being said, we'll bring in a person that'll help us cover everything going on at the Grundy County Speedway from this past weekend of the Bettenhausen, and looking forward to championship night. It'll be our local racing spotlight, and our guest, Tony Baranek, your sports writer for the Daily Southtown, covers the auto racing beat there, recaps and features stories from Grundy County Speedway every week. We'll bring him in. This segment brought to you by S4 Motorsports Marketing. You can find S4 Motorsports on Facebook and Instagram to see how they can get your small business's message out front with on and off-track marketing, motorsports marketing programs. So let's welcome Tony into the show. Tony, you got us.
Good evening, fellas. How you doing?
Doing good. Yourself?
Doing all right. When I started doing this 40 years ago, I couldn't have dreamed that I'd be on an internet radio show talking about local auto racing, but here I am.
Here you are, and we're gonna flip the script on you. I mean, usually you're the interviewer, and now you're gonna be the interviewee, and hopefully we don't trip you up, or maybe you'll trip us up. I don't know. We'll see.
No, I'll be on my knees after a few minutes tripping, I'm sure. But no, we're fine. We've done this before.
Yeah, consummate professionals here.
Something like that, anyway.
Yeah, amateurs, consummate amateurs. I don't know. We show up, we talk about racing, we leave.
There you go.
A couple people to watch.
Although at this point, we don't even leave. We're just like still kind of quarantined.
No, I know they can't get us to leave. I mean, that's how it is.
You guys were saviors back in March and April when we couldn't have auto racing, and you're giving us iRacing and stuff to look at, and the technology that you guys do to have a show like this, I think is just fantastic.
We appreciate that, and we'll add one column into the vote of confidence for what we're doing is actually good.
We got one.
Hey, one is better than zero, but
I'm easy.
We won't tell anybody though. Be all right. So a lot of racing to cover, man. A lot of racing this past weekend. Bettenhausen, biggest race in our area. A lot going on, and probably a lot of people, myself included, probably saw the winner of the Bettenhausen. Saw his name, saw his picture, and probably a lot of people thought, who? Because I did the same thing. Not very familiar with Michael Bilderback. Learned a little bit about him, kind of just doing some research, but he dominated the Bettenhausen, started second. So first off, let's kind of get your overall reactions from the evening.
Well, good show. I mean, a lot of great racing. I thought they had the thing was paced out very well. We got done at a very reasonable time, thank God, because we were in winter coats by the end of the night. Given everything that we've had in the shortness of the season, and car counts have just been amazing for this summer, and I thought it was good. It was a good pack of cars. It's funny you mentioned Michael Bilderbach. Who is he? And I know who he is. But I called him Ricky twice during the post-race interview. It's a little secret between you, me, and I don't know who's watching, but I did that twice. I mean, I've only seen him race like maybe twice,
right,
ever in my life. And that guy was just on a rail.
Yeah, it seemed like maybe, and I think he even kind of alluded to it in a couple of his interviews that I read that he did. 2, 3, 4 laps after a restart, and there were a handful of them throughout the show, as you'd expect. As soon as he kind of got that car rolling, he just was able to check out.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him come from 10th.
Right.
I just, as fast as he was, and he handled lap traffic very well. Maybe he's raced at Grundy, who knows, maybe he's 5, 6 times ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he handled lap traffic very well. I'd have liked to have seen him pass a Hoffman or a Baker, just to see how that dynamic would have worked up front.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, one thing I've kind of noticed throughout the season when I've been out there and watching the late model features, especially, it seems like if you can start up front, based on the invert, and if your car's decent enough, it seems like track position has been key with how close and tight the field has been, and I think he was a bit of a beneficiary of that.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that really blew me away was after the race. The other guys I talked to, I only talked to a couple, but the ones I did talk to, so happy for this kid. So happy for him. He's got a lot of respect.
Yeah, it seemed like it, and again, that kind of got me scratching my head. I mean, of course, I don't follow much of what goes on at the Rockford Speedway. It's a little bit of outside my jurisdiction, so to speak. And I'm, maybe they've run with him up there, but yeah, like you said, it seemed like everybody was very positive about him.
Chris, how tough was it for you to shoot pictures with him in the lead by 9 car lengths?
Well, the editing pictures is a separate story, but when they finally get posted, you'll see there's a lot of pictures as they're coming around for the restart, because I couldn't get much after that.
Yeah.
But Michael, he's a 3-time Rockford Speedway champion, so obviously he's quite the shoe, quite the wheelman. Just 29 years old, from up that area, South Beloit, over there in Illinois. Like I said, man, the car was on a rail, and he did a good job navigating lap traffic and, getting the challenges from behind. A lot of action in the Bettenhausen, a lot of good racing. Had pockets of good racing. You get 20 or 30 green flag laps, and you have a little bit of cautions, and then you'd have 20, 30 laps again. Just kind of enough to get strung out.
Well, it was exciting behind him, that's for darn sure.
Yeah, exactly. With two big pileups heading into turn 1, both involving Ricky Baker.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys have watched it all year, okay?
Yeah.
It's been tough to pass for whatever reason all season long. And, we've seen a fair share of winners from the front row.
Right.
And I just think a lot of the guys out there were doing what they felt they needed to do. And, of course, all drivers make mistakes that they probably feel bad about later. And in a 100-lap race, there are a lot of opportunities to make those mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And, especially there's a lot going on in a 100-lap race like that. Obviously, you're trying to, if you start, the back half of the top 10, like a lot of those fast guys did, I mean, you got to try to navigate through traffic, both lapped and lead lap traffic, manage your tires. And of course, you're racing side by side with guys trying to get the win. So, yeah, definitely a lot to manage. But definitely Paul Schaefer Jr., one of the guys that got the short end of the stick on some of that. And he was definitely none too happy afterwards.
Yeah, him and Beckel weren't happy. He wasn't happy either. And yeah, Baker's name was said a lot more than Wilderbach's was after the race. And he did take a lot of heat. But you know what? Who hasn't at one point or another?
Yeah.
He's a good race car driver. He's a champion, and he's a consistent front runner.
Yeah, exactly.
He hates these tires. And you can see how aggravated he gets when he talks about them.
Yeah.
Maybe they made him overdrive a little bit on Saturday. Or maybe he was just driving hard and stuff happens.
Oh, yeah. This would be the race to do it in.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think since they switched to this tire, I don't think he's run as much as he had before the switch.
No, and he just doesn't believe in them. And there's a few other guys. I mean, what we had last year.
Right.
Yeah. Last season, there were about 5 guys who just refused, which just boggles my mind. If I'm a good race car driver and you're going to put us all on the same tires, then I'm going to be the better one in that group. Mm-hmm. And if, this need for speed, well, we can't go as fast. Dude, you're racing. and everybody's got the same tires.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that being aside, I mean, I highly respect Ricky Baker. And, I mean, he had a bad night. That's for darn sure. But he did finish second, so he had a good night, too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't complain when you're walking home with at least second place money if you can't get the big trophy and the big check, and which obviously he's done in the Bettenhausen before. So he definitely knows what it takes to get it done. But I just let's say Paul Schaefer Jr. He's one that doesn't get riled up too easily. So no, when he was getting fired up and getting angry there towards the end, and watching, I could kind of see why. It seemed like for several laps there in the middle of the race, when him and Baker and Hoffman were running nose to tail. I know Baker was wearing that rear bumper out, so that's like tapping a guy on the forehead. And you do it so many times, it's gonna aggravate him. So I'm sure that probably didn't help anything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, Schaefer's an interesting guy when he's angry. And like you say, he doesn't get angry very often, but he was angry after the race. Mm-hmm. Like some guys get angry and they're like, "I'm gonna go kick his butt," blah blah blah. He was making jokes, and it was, no big deal. Ton of money. It's gonna cost me that much. Maybe he needs to look at a video. And I'm thinking to myself, that's as classy of a rant as I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's like even when he's mad, he's just still mellow and just kind of chilled out.
Yep.
But good action, good racing action there. So definitely happy for Mike Bilderback. Interesting to see somebody from Rockford. I mean, you had 2 out of the 3 races won by Rockford guys.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, well, that was funny. The Garrett Braden one in the pure stocks. Yeah, I swear he buried the brakes on Schmeissing at least twice going into the turns, brake checking them. And I thought Schmeissing was going to be just livid after the race on the scales. And I went up to him and I said, "Danny," and he goes, "We're buddies, me and him. I raced with him up at Rockford now and again. But I'm glad." I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's good to hear."
Yeah. But the reporter in you's got to be like, "Man, give me something better than that."
Hey, listen, well, let's see. Was that race first? I had plenty to work with. Trust me. I had plenty to work with. I mean, they were jumping all over Timmy Stewart about some technical thing in the line, and he looked, man, what a great story he was this year, jumping in a mid-am for the first time, winning a feature, and we all know what a high-class street stock driver he is.
Yeah. He's definitely one of the best around in the street stock division. Yeah, and to see him make the move up to the mid-am, and he's done really well in making that transition, and which I expect nothing less. All those years wheeling those street stocks around, you throw a little more power underneath it and a little more adjustability, and then there you go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Timmy, he came from looked about mid-pack in that street stock feature, and quite a battle between him and the Gardners and Leguiz, and the typical guys you find up front on a Friday night out at the Grundy County Speedway for the street stock feature.
Yeah, how about Dad and his boy running 1-2 in the heat? I was going to bring that up later, but about how interesting that could be next year.
Yeah, Scotty's really come a long way in a short time.
Yeah,
come from just kind of first time in a car. He's won a heat. He's won a fast heat. He won a not the A feature, but he won a feature out at South Bend too. So he's padding his resume really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which like you said, definitely can pose some interesting dynamics come next season.
Well, his dad was a track champion at Raceway Park back in 2000. And he was one bad dude racing that hobby street stock at Raceway. Had his fair share of scrapes. I mean, the street stocks at Raceway back then were just amazing. They always were in Raceway's history. But he raced part-time so many times over the years. And he came back this year because he wanted to help Scotty get going. And I don't know that he knew that he was going to do as well as he did.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to him the other night about this, and I'm like, "Man, you can't quit next year." I said, "The way he's come along, Scotty said, you guys could seriously run 1-2 in the division if everything broke right.
Right.
He goes, yeah, I'll think about it.
I tell you, man, racers, once you got it and have that taste, man, it's hard to walk away. It always seems to suck you back in.
Yeah, I don't know of any racer that has ever totally retired from racing.
Unless they've been forced to, obviously, by, some other circumstance. But yeah, I mean, that would definitely be an interesting dynamic. And we kind of talked about it. Now, these guys that, like street stock guys, once you're in a division, you make history in that division. It's, you kind of plant your roots down and you're almost a gatekeeper, so to speak. And, especially when the next hot shoe coming up is your son, definitely an interesting dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Well, and some of those guys like Randy Weiss, a handful of them never want to move up. They never want to get out of the street stock. They love that grassrootsy type of racing. I was talking with who was it? Christy Penrod. Mm-hmm. She had the late model,
right?
And now she just sold it because she's going back to school. And she goes, I'll come back in a couple of years. There's another late model. She goes, maybe not, because I really loved running street stocks, and she did win that championship in 2015.
Right.
So yeah, that's a fun class. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone who's raced a street stock before, that's definitely fun. And they're a handful, but like you said, they're fun, and they're grassroots. It's gritty. It's everything maybe local racing should be.
I've driven them a couple times, and they're fun.
Yep. So let's move on from Bettenhausen a little bit. Great weekend of racing, but we got a big one coming up, and we were kind of talking off air a little bit. It's kind of hard to believe with everything going on that season finale is here, and you don't really want it to be, but still got in a lot of racing nights in 2020, more than maybe we kind of thought we would at the beginning of the year. But here we are now at the finale and championship night, and got a lot of points battles that are some tight, some not so tight, and a lot of storylines to follow up on.
Mm-hmm. Well, like you said, there's some not so tight. You've got Eddie Legui with a big lead over Chad Bayuk. It's like 64 points. And you've got Schaefer with a 52-point lead over Hoffman. And then you got the tight ones with Kevin Murphy, 14 ahead of Blake Brown, and Jeremiah Senko, 12 points ahead of Zach Wegner. But I'll tell you, in all those cases, as long as it's not over, it's not over. Mm-hmm. Because I can remember vividly the 2008 season, going down to the last night in the last race. Tom Smith had a 44-point lead over Brett Sontag. He was running second all by himself with 20 laps to go, had the championship locked up, and between turn 1 and 2, his engine blew up. Oh. And Sontag wound up winning the title by 38 points. Anything can happen. Is it, you don't predict that kind of thing. I certainly wouldn't. I wouldn't want to be the voodoo hex guy.
You'd be getting a lot of phone calls.
Oh my God, it's something like that. So I ain't going to say that's going to happen this weekend. I'm just saying anything can happen.
Yeah.
So it's worth watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And it definitely, we look at the late models, 2-man race, third on back, it's 80 plus points out, and looks like about 80 points max are available any given night, providing your competitor doesn't show up, which I don't foresee that happening really in any of these. So Schaefer, curious though, we've seen him have to patch his car up a couple times this year, was involved in an incident Saturday in the Bettenhausen. So you wonder, is that the same car they're going to bring back just patched up? Is he going to bring one of his other touring cars? I think Hoffman was involved in a little bit of on-track action. So definitely interesting to see. Hoffman, the veteran. Schaefer's a veteran in his own right. Maybe a little more inexperienced when you compare him to an Eddie Hoffman per se. But going for the double I. He's got the Illiana Track Championship, and now trying to get that Grundy County Speedway Track Championship.
Right, and wasn't it just a pleasant surprise to see him show up this year? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Who would have predicted that? And it's just he's so popular. And after the races, the fans all flock down by him, and it's just a personable guy. And it's good to see. I mean, Eddie Hoffman, this has probably been the most just bad luck filled season he may have ever had.
Right.
He was going to try and break the record. He's tied with his dad with 6 track titles. This would have made him the king of Grundy if he could be the champion this year. Eddie isn't going anywhere for a while. He'll have another shot at this.
Yeah, like you said, it seems like anytime we've been out there or seen it, seems like he just has something.
Yeah.
So that creeps up.
And it's always at like the worst time too. Like the night we did double features, each feature counted a full feature's worth of points, and he wrecked out early in both of them.
Right. I mean, he's gotten more cheers this year as they take his car off the track.
Getting that old like Jeff Gordon treatment.
Kind of, yeah.
Yes, exactly. He's got fans, but the ones that aren't Eddie Hoffman fans, they never seem to have laryngitis. They always loud.
Yeah, and like you said, Paulie Jr., it's just a popular guy, and we were talking a little bit earlier when he was mad. Like even when he's mad, he's not really mad. And how can you be unpopular rocking that retro retro glasses and like the mullet thing he's got going on? I mean, how can you be unpopular?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys familiar with his father's career, by the way?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he's come on here and talk about it a little bit. Yeah.
You talk about the apple or pear or whatever you want to fall off the tree, not falling far. I mean, he was on dirt.
Yeah.
So that's not shocking that Paulie would be this good. But
yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. We talked about mid-ams, Kevin Murphy with Blake Brown. When we talked to Blake Brown earlier in the season, he was on the show. He didn't have anything lined up, and now he's he's double dipping in both divisions and a contender for the mid-am title now.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's another one. How could you say no to that guy if you think about putting him in the car? You've raced so well at Illiana in the past, and he really shined in that late model car. With a big help from Anthony Danta.
Yeah, Anthony's been a big help. I know he's been there.
He is.
Yeah, exactly. And and to be able to come and switch out cars on any given night and double dip, watching racing in 2 divisions, 2 completely different cars, definitely kind of speaks to his talent level and the kind of shoe that he is behind the wheel.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Kevin Murphy, he's been a front runner here now for several years too. And, all he's got to do is keep his nose clean and he'll be fine. But if he doesn't, Blake Brown will be sniffing. That's for sure.
Yep, absolutely. And then, we briefly talked about the street stocks. Eddie Legui, 64-point lead over Bayuk. And from what I understand, he might have had some engine problems this past week. So that could be up in the air, and but even 64 points, I think Legui is pretty safe in that respect.
Yeah, and Eddie's not going to do anything crazy to put himself in a position to crash out early or anything like that. He's been around. He knows what he needs to do, and he will do it.
Yep. And last but not least, pure stock division, Jeremiah Senko, 12-point lead over Zach Legner. And when I put some of these notes together, I didn't really look, 3rd, 4th, 5th, because there's a lot that has to happen for the 3rd, 4th, 5th place guys. Even with their within point striking range mathematically to be able to have that happen. But yeah, Senko 12 points over Legner. I know Senko was involved in some on-track stuff here recently, so the status of his car and maybe the quality of it is into question a little bit. So that'll be one to watch this weekend.
Yeah, he that's the real question mark, because he told me that the car is not the same, and he won the slow heat Saturday night. Started up front for the feature and went straight to the back.
Right.
But that race also didn't have the breakout rule.
Mm-hmm.
And, this division, of course, the reason they have the breakout rule is that a lot of these cars are different and their capacity is much bigger, some than the others. And maybe it was just everybody blowing it out, and his car isn't like that. but if they have to race at his speed, he'll be fine. So, he's just got to stay within 3 or 4 positions. But Legner is going to be going after it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially being that close within striking distance, maybe smelling a little blood in the water, seeing what he can get.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of looking at the year as a whole, 2020 has been a little bit different. Late start, question marks whether we were going to get started at all. But any key takeaways going into the last race of the year? Any key takeaways from 2020 that stand out?
Well, I guess for me, mostly that the racing community is a very dedicated and very determined community of people. I mean, the drivers showed in droves, and it was, was reasonable to wonder what was going to happen, because Grundy suffered a little bit last year with the tire change, the drivers kind of revolting a little bit, got the late start. Did they really make it worth their while? And it just seemed like the drivers just responded heroically, and they all came out. And the fans, it's funny because the lights in the infield, the bright lights, I can't see into the grandstands because the grandstands are so dark compared to the track now.
Right.
But after the races, they just piled into the pits, and you knew there were a lot of people there. And I think that really says a lot, and I think another takeaway is we got through the whole season without any major COVID news.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a positive. No big, outbreaks. All the protocols and everything worked, and like you said, had good attendance in the pits, good attendance in the grandstands, and it almost brought a sense of normalcy to 2020.
Yes, it did. It did. It was good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously you've done a lot of articles for the Southtown this year. What's maybe the most interesting story that you've uncovered through your writings this year?
Well, I don't think I've uncovered any mysteries this year. But I mean, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. I mean, I think the coolest story is the Gardners.
Yeah,
I think that was one of the coolest stories. Just the son follows in dad's footsteps. Not unusual, I mean, DJ Waltmeyer's got his dad in the pits working with them, but he's not racing against them. And it's the same with Nathan Kelly and his dad. And it's we're going now on a much higher scale into the late models, but I don't think Eddie Hoffman raced against his dad, but maybe 1 or 2 times, if that. So I think that's cool. I like those family stories, and it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, you almost got that. You almost got that built-in rivalry a little bit, because they want to outrun each other.
Yeah, I meant to say Schaefer and his dad. It's nice to see Schaefer and his dad together too in the pits too.
Yeah, definitely a family affair.
Mm-hmm.
So before we let you go, we'll ask to put on your thinking cap or get out your crystal ball, whatever you see fit here. But maybe what are you looking forward to the most? Switching gears, maybe to the 2021 season. Anything storyline maybe, or anything you're looking forward to?
Well, number one, I'd really look forward to there being a 2-group track again.
Right.
One of the things they need to work on. And they did, by the way, they get not 100% of my plaudits. They get 1,000% what they did to this racetrack with the lights, cleaning up the facilities. I almost you feel like a hotel bathroom there now. It's like amazing,
Right.
And I think they ran a smooth show. I think the crew did a nice job too in the pits, and especially the guys that had to come on late because we had a little bit of a problem there with the tech situation.
Right.
And I thought the guys that had to come in on short notice did a great job. So looking ahead, I just remember not too long ago days when we'd have 10 lap side-by-side battles.
Right.
And guys could pass on the outside. Pat Kelly used the outside like it was his top groove. And it's happened a few times this year we've had it, but not as much.
Right.
So I know a lot of the drivers blame the tires that they're on and saying that they can't, that's it. But I honestly don't get that because, again, they're all on the same tire. So
yeah, exactly.
There's no grip in the second groove. That's a whole nother story.
Right.
That's about it. That's the number one thing.
All right. Well, with that, Tony, thank you for your time tonight and coming on, talking a little racing with us.
Ask him about his sponsors.
I'd like to thank my wife.
You know what? That's probably the number one, right?
Yeah, she lets me go to the racetrack every week, and but then again, she gets the money that I earn. So for being a reporter, but right. Yeah. So thank you for having me on. This was a blast. I really had a good time.
Well, thanks for coming on, and we look forward to having you back. There definitely will be a next time. Had a good time talking to you tonight.
All right. Very good. And good luck with the rest of the show, guys.
Excellent. Thanks, Tony.
Sure.
And that was Tony Baranek from the Daily Southtown, your local auto racing reporter. Chris, a lot of information there, and it's always good having somebody like him, a reporter, kind of in the know and in the scoop. A lot of different things that maybe you and I we can't, we don't get the words on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories he gets while I'm busy shooting the next race.
Yeah, and I'm busy, loading up a trailer or whatnot, getting ready to get the heck out of there. So, a lot of good information. So, definitely want to thank him for coming out and talking to us tonight. That being said, we kind of alluded to it, a lot coming up this weekend. But before we go to look ahead at this coming weekend, let's take a look back at the weekend that was and go with the weekly Winner's Circle segment presented by Damn It Race Videos. Damn It Race Videos provide quality racing videos from the Grundy County Speedway and the South Bend Motor Speedway. You can watch all of their videos on the Damn It Race Videos YouTube page. Also follow them on Facebook for the latest news and information regarding their postings. And his videos for the Bettenhausen evening was spot on. Like I said, our schedule and our plans kind of changed, so we weren't at the racetrack. So I was able to catch up and watch all the videos and in the know, and got all my research done before the episode. So definitely want to thank Dimmitt for everything that he does there. So let's take a look at our Bettenhausen winners. We talked about it. Michael Bilderbach, regular out at the Rockford Speedway, comes in and beats the local guys for the Bettenhausen Memorial 100. Timmy Stewart takes a street stock feature, and then another Rockford regular, Garrett Braden, takes the pure stock feature. Garrett had to play a lot of defense to make that one happen, but he did.
Yeah, that was kind of a rough race.
Yeah, a little bit, but it was entertaining.
It was pretty rough too.
Yeah, well, what can you expect for the Bettenhausen? So, but then also, while we're talking about 100 lappers, let's go to the Shady Hill Speedway, the Mystery 100. Brad D. Young took the UMP Modified Mystery 100 feature win. Jason Fuller with the Bomber feature, and then Lee Hobbs took the stock car feature out at the Shady Hill Speedway. So our winner circle segment and our review segments are getting shorter and shorter because the amount of tracks
we're out of racing.
Yeah, I know, amount of tracks still running are few and far between now. So we'll look ahead to what we've got coming up. Let's talk about the Plymouth Speedway. They got one more race, I believe, on their schedule, and this is a rescheduled event from earlier in the year. It's this Thursday, the 24th. It is the Stars and Cars of the World of Outlaw Series. Will invade the playground of power, Plymouth Speedway, this Thursday night, 7 o'clock local time out there, which is Eastern time, but I don't want to say Eastern time, because
crazy fast future time.
Yeah, crazy fast future time. I believe tickets and all that are still available for that event. So if you're interested in go see the World of Outlaws, go find all that information on the Facebook page and their website. I'm sure he has that information as well. South Bend Motor Speedway, they're going to be running an event this Saturday, the 26th as well, the So Long Summer 75 for the Outlaw late models. Also having a V8 showdown, front wheel drive and Hornet showdown, and a mini stock showdown. You can find all the information, rules, schedules, all that stuff on the website and Facebook information, Facebook page for the South Bend Motor Speedway. And then the Grundy County Speedway, the season finale, fan appreciation night. A lot going on. Most popular driver, best looking car, all that's going to be announced. Fan giveaways. And it's going to be the final points night for the late models, mid-am, street stocks, pure stocks. We've already talked about the points battles, everything going on out there. Lots of stuff, lot to unpack. Good blowout for the year, man.
Yeah, that's I believe the plan is we're going to do on-track autographs, socially distanced. Chuck Uris, the cone guy out there, is race director, cone guy, T-shirt shooter, promoter, whatever title he wants to choose right now. Has 100 shirts he's going to be shooting. Going to get hopefully as many as he can over the fence, but in the grandstand. I know the range is a little bit off at times.
Story of my life, just a little bit off. That's it. Yeah. I mean, that's usually how it goes. But a lot going on. Like I said, it's hard to believe season's over, but it is the end of September. So, man, looking forward to it. I think not sure if I'll be there or not. Kind of plans still up in the air there. Let's see what else we got. Neil Klein chiming in. October 10th, Plymouth race night, non-wing sprints. So a little bit still going on here and there. Rescheduled events. Makeup events, trying to get in for touring shows. So, check our Facebook page and all these tracks Facebook page, Plymouth Speedway, Shady Hill Speedway. I think Shady Hill is officially done, right, Chris?
Yeah, I believe Shady Hill has completed all their scheduled events. I think the next thing they've got on the schedule is the banquet in late November.
Right. All right. We'll any information that comes along on these tracks, we'll pass them along. And also you can follow all these tracks on their Facebook page. They all got the socials. So go ahead and check that out for anything remaining. Final thoughts and closings for this evening. Obviously, other sponsors we want to thank. Goodacre.
What are thoughts?
Yeah, Goodacre Photography. A lot going on. They're struggling with technology this week.
Right, me and this computer are about to start round 3 here.
So when you have all that information up, where can they find it? Even though I'm pretty sure everybody here knows where to find it.
Once we finally convince this thing that I'm right and it should do what I want it to do, I'll have all the pictures posted at www.goodacrephotography.com/Grundy/Shady Hill or /South Bend, whichever track you're looking for. Actually /NIMW for the mini wedges. They've got their own special album. You can find me on Facebook, which is right here where you're at. If you just put Goodacre Photography in the search bar up above us, you'll find my page.
Yep, but wait till we're done.
Like, subscribe. I'll have a collection of my favorite pictures from the weekend posted, announcing that everything's finally functional and on the website.
Good times, good stuff.
And then, I'm on Instagram whenever I remember to do that.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of like I would say the redheaded stepchild of the whole thing, but
here we go. Took you the entire episode.
It did. So everybody's asking what's in my mason jar. It is water. Nothing fancy, nothing fun. Although it could have gotten away with saying like moonshine or just straight vodka or something, but it's water. So sorry to be the disappointment. This first glass I actually grabbed out of the cabinet. So no promotional mugs or anything tonight. So. I know, no fun. That's no fun. What's in your cup, Chris? Huh?
Actually, mine is Arnold Palmer tonight. Man, that's why can I never say that?
Arnold Palmer.
It's the lemonade tea stuff.
It's never a bad. What?
You try it.
Arnold Palmer.
There you go.
Arnold Palmer. Say it 5 times fast, Chris.
It.
That wasn't a dad joke. I don't know what is.
Well, hey, when jokes become dad jokes, right? When the punchline becomes apparent.
All right, that's it. International Women's Motorsports Association. Got to thank them. IWMANation.com, IWMA Nation on Facebook and Instagram. Go check out everything that they're doing. Left Turn Graphics and the Driving DJ Network. Our boss man, Driving DJ over there. He's got
some callers back.
Yeah, exactly. So DJ is doing a lot of the virtual racing and broadcasting, everything going on. So I'm sure the local stuff will be starting up here pretty soon. So make sure to follow Driving DJ and Driving DJ Network to keep track of everything going on as far as local virtual racing and all the broadcasting stuff he's doing. Pretty cool to see what he can do with the virtual side of things and on the real side of things. Like boss man Stan finally decided to show up. All the work's done and he's going to show up. That's what's going to happen there, like one of his crew members or something.
Yeah, like the one that's doing a radio show instead of working on the car.
I know, right?
Which, hey, Stan, while you're here,
man,
you got an update for us, sir?
I don't know if he'll post anything or not, but
okay. Is he like breathing, walking around, driving a race car?
Well, All I know is, and hopefully I'm not going to step on his toes here. Driver is good. Driver is fine.
Okay.
So,
well, as good as it was before, anyway.
Well, I mean that was debatable. I mean, race car drivers always got some screws loose, anyways. So you got to be, it's for crazy people, strapping into a race car, So, so he's good. So see what see if we can get clearance from the doctors. I think that's the biggest thing right now. And then that's any more than that. That's I'll let Stan, the boss man, S4 post on that. So, which S4 Motorsports, they brought our
himself.
I never could. Well, he's the man himself. I never could walk. No, walking and English and grammar was never like his good things, anyways. So he's good. So he's chiming in, watching. They're probably watching in the garage. Would be my guess. Probably working on a car, doing something. So good to hear.
Not being there working on the car.
Yeah, exactly. So. That being said, we thank everybody for tuning in this evening at episode 61 of the Illiana Stock Car Radio. I want to thank Tony Baranek for coming on. Great insight as to everything going on at the Grundy County Speedway. Season is wrapping up, so if you haven't gotten to the racetrack yet, you are running out of opportunities. And make sure to bundle up if you do.
Yeah.
It's getting cold in the evenings, getting cold in the mornings. So that being said, we'll thank everybody. Tune in next week. We're running out of shows here as well. Usually when the race season ends, so do we. So we've been going since March, so it'd be nice to get a little off season ourselves. so a few more episodes.
We're just going to be doing iRacing.
I know it's more just transitioning into the next season of things. Let's be honest. Yeah. So your time's running out to catch the Illiana Stock Car Radio podcast for the season and local racing. So make sure you get your backside trackside or get your backside to Facebook or YouTube, which is where you can find us broadcasting Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. You can also find us on Facebook. Obviously, if you're watching this on Facebook and Instagram as well. So again, thank everybody for tuning in this evening, and get out, support local racing, and we will see you guys next week.